Okay. All right. So, yeah, just started recording. All right. So we'll start with Forex Factory. So I'll share my screen. You can let me know if you're seeing. Just let me know what you're seeing. All right. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah,
All right, cool. Yeah, so we're on Forex Factory. So,
but it's just a black screen. I don't know. It says
okay.
doesn't get started.
All
Yeah,
right,
you
just
have to
give it a little
share
bit of
your
time. Is it showing now?
no. Yeah,
Okay.
there it is. Good. Oh, it's
Okay.
good now.
Is it showing now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're on Forex Factory. And then essentially these are some of I would say the most um, important events
Mm-hmm.
that will be happening this week, right? So we have Tuesday, we have for the euro, we have the German CPI coming out. For USD, we have consumer confidence coming out. We have job openings coming out also, and that's for USD. For Australian dollar, we have CPI quarter over quarter. We also have CPI year over year, and manufacturing PMI, which is huge. In addition to that, for Tuesday, we have for the Japanese yen, we have the Bank of Japan policy rate and overall monetary policy and outlook, right? So big, big day, and also this is going to be a big week from what we're seeing, down there. So Wednesday, CPI from Europe, USD, non-farm employment change, Canadian GDP is coming out also, and we have some for the US dollar employment index, pending home sales, and the Fed, which is the US central bank, they will also be making a decision on their interest rate this week. So huge, massive week.
Yeah, it looks very a lot of news this week. It's gonna
Yeah, a
be
lot of news.
very
Yeah, so a lot of
volatile
volatility.
week.
Sorry?
Just be careful.
What
Yeah, I
happened?
try not to be. I try not to be in any trades during the news, but like I try to take the position after like the initial announcement
Yeah.
because
No,
there's
for
lots
sure.
of
Well,
volatility.
for me, as I said, it depends on what I'm seeing, right? So I'm gonna do my analysis. If the RSI is lining up,
Mhm.
obviously I may not go all in. It just depends, but I'm gonna watch it. Like, so this week you kind of have to be glued to your computer, right? Or
Yeah.
your smartphone, right? So if you are in the market, then you have to hold your phone close to you. If not, then you watch it kind of here and there and wait probably next week if you want to make some trade. But this is gonna be a massive week, man. This is,
Hmm.
if you're looking at it, basically every day there's red folders, right?
Yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, so it's a
Never
crazy week,
seen it like
man.
this.
Sorry?
Mhm. I honestly never seen this many red folders before. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a crazy week,
Hmm.
you know? Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy week, man.
So
Yeah.
you
So
you
this
you
is
sent some pairs in the chat. Are those the ones that you're cur-
yeah,
currently
so
like
what I'm
looking
gonna
at,
do
right?
now is so I'm gonna shift from the calendar, and then
Mm.
probably I'll go back and forth between the calendar and some of what I'm looking at. So we'll start off um, with the dollar index. Let me know if you're seeing my screen.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just let me refresh the chart. Okay, so this is, let me go back to the, all right, so yeah, so what we're looking at right now, we're looking at the 6 month dollar index. So this is just kind of basically giving us a gauge in terms of, where the dollar is versus a basket of other currencies, right? So from an RSI standpoint for the 6 month, it's kind of in this, it's in this middle range, so to speak, right? So if it's below that 30 range or going, you know, lower, then it indicates that the dollar is weakening. If it's going above here, to say above 70, that means it's strengthened and probably now is a good time to like sell. So we're kind of in this holding middle range pattern. But I guess this upcoming week, we're gonna see, some divergence in terms of where things are going and everything else, right? So this week is gonna be a huge, like massive week for for currencies, for the dollar, among other things. Yeah, man. Any
Yeah.
thoughts? Yeah, any thoughts on this?
Well, is this a 6 month or what
Yeah,
time frame
this
are
is
you
a
on?
six.
'Cause I
Yeah,
don't see.
this is a 6 month. Yeah.
Where's the 6 month? I don't because why does it say 2 hour up here? Left.
No, so if you look at the bottom, it says 6 months. So you're gonna see February, March, April, May, June, July. Are you looking at the bottom here?
Oh, okay. So that's how you look at it. Sorry, yeah, that's what I wanna get
Yeah,
at.
yeah,
So okay. But you're on a 2 hour chart though, right?
yeah. So this is a 2 hour chart.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So here the thing with the RSI, right? Or because I don't really use it that much, but I use the stochastics. So I
Okay.
know these are like bounded indicators, meaning so it like 0 to 100, and if it goes up to like all the way to the top,
Mhm.
yeah, it's overbought. But how do you know when how do you know when you would enter, like based on your entry, because it has to come down to a certain point, I think,
Yeah, definitely.
because you
So
can you
I'm
you
from,
can buy it and it's still going up, right? And then
yeah,
you're
for
in
sure.
drawdown. That's what you want
Exactly.
to avoid. You don't want to be in drawdown like too long, right? So
Yeah.
how do you what do you look for? Do you wait for it to cross over the 80 line or 70? Or what are you
Yeah.
looking
So
for?
what I do typically with the RSI, so I'm not just looking at the 6 month chart. I'm actually looking at a 3 month, a 1 month, a 5 day, and a 1 day, right? So for me to get confirmation and to actually go into my entry, so first I want to see the 6 month, then that gives me confirmation to say, okay, there's probably something here, right? Once I see an indication from the 6 month, so let's say on the 6 months it's showing 25 on the RSI, or let's say it's showing 75 on the RSI, then boom, that's basically like my bat signal to go off now. So once I see that on the 6 month, then I go to the 3 month, right? And if my 3 month is basically saying the same thing, to say, okay, it's at 20 or 25 or below 30 or above 70, 75, 80, then it gives me a second confirmation. From there now I go to the 1 month, right? When I'm on the 1 month, I want to basically see the same thing. So for me, I'm looking at basically five different time frames. So I'm looking at the 6 month time frame, I'm looking at the 3 month time frame, I'm looking at the 1 month time frame, I'm looking at the 1 week, and I'm also looking at the daily time frame, right? So once all of those align, that's when I actually like make my move. You know what I mean?
So
Does
when
that
you
make
say
sense?
align, like yeah, it makes sense. But when the alignment, what sort of alignment are you looking for?
Basically the bias that I'm going with. So whatever my position is, right? So if my position on the 6 month is essentially it's below 30, and that's a buying opportunity for me based on the 6 month. I want the 3 month, the 1 month, the 1 week, and the 1 day charts to confirm that. So I won't make a move until all of those are basically confirming that the RSI for each of those different time frames are within that range of either overbought or oversold. And basically that's when I make my move. So all those time frames have to provide me that signal that this is overbought, it's below 30 RSI, or it's oversold above 70 RSI. So I have to see that on all my charts, on all my different time frames for me to make that entry.
So when you're looking at your pairs though,
Mhm.
how are you finding these pairs? Like how are you finding, because you that means you are you constantly looking at the chart to see, like how do you find the setup? How do you know if it's, are you just focusing on certain pairs?
Yeah, so I'm looking at a couple different frames and I'm basically looking at the charts, right? So sometimes, as an example, I'll be up at like 12 o'clock. Sometimes I'll be up at like 2 a.m. and I'm
Hmm.
essentially analyzing the charts and I'm creating my alerts, right? So what I'll do is, for instance, on, let's say we're looking, so this is the dollar index, right? So let's say I wanted for me to get in, it has to be below 30. So I have all my alerts. So if you see these dotted lines, these are my alerts, right? So once it
Okay,
triggers,
so you're looking at the dollar index before you get into any kind of trade. That's what you're saying.
no, not necessarily. This, like,
Okay.
I just want to know what's going on in the market also, right? So
Mm.
I'm not necessarily looking for the dollar index for confirmation. It would be nice, but not necessarily, right? So the dollar index for me is just kind of there. So I want to know, like, if are you familiar with like the volatility index, like the VIX?
Not so much, but
Oh, okay. So just similarly, I want to know. It's basically for me, it's like an index. I just want to know what's going on with the US dollar across the board. So it just kind of
mhm.
gives me like just insight to say, okay, the trend is on the upside, or the trend is range, or the trend is on on the low side. Basically, it just for me, it's just kind of giving me a sentiment. So I use the dollar index more as like, okay, what's the sentiment for the US dollar, right? But if I'm looking at specific currencies, I'm looking at them, you know, individually, right?
But
So
are
as an
you
ex-
going through each, how are you selecting your peers though? Are you going through each currency or are you just
I'm
looking
going
at
through each currency.
particular ones?
No, I'm going through each currency. So if I'm focused on, say, USD CAD
Hmm.
specifically, I'm focused on USD CAD, and I'm looking at it, you know, I'm looking at the calendar based on USD CAD. I'm looking at the time frames based on USD CAD. I'm looking at the news specifically based on that currency.
But what draws you to that currency? That's like kind of what I'm getting at.
Oh, basically,
Yeah.
yeah. So what draws me to that currency is just essentially like the chart. So I'll pull up the chart and then I'll kind of look at it and see, okay, where's the opportunity here, right? So this one, for instance, let's say I've seen that, the RSI kind of hasn't been above 78 or above 75. In my mind, right, if it hits, I probably wouldn't take it at 70. I'd probably wait for it to jump a little bit more, right? And then that is like a confirmation. But essentially, what draws me to them is the opportunity for me to make profit and whatever the
Right, right. So,
yeah.
but you basically, like, we know that we have, you have a plan. Like everybody has a plan. So your plan is, so
Hmm.
what I'm getting from you, you could correct me if I'm wrong, is so you'll
Hmm.
start on the 6 month chart, and then
Hmm.
you'll probably have all the pairs, and then you'll go through each of those pairs on the 6 month, and you'll
Hmm.
look for the ones that are like in that range before you go down any further. Is that right?
Yeah, but for me, I focus probably on three specifically, like it'd be USD CAD, Euro
Mm-hmm.
USD, and probably
Mm-hmm.
GBP USD. I've made money on Australian dollar. I've made money on GBP JPY. I've made
Mm-hmm.
money on Euro USD. of right. So for me, it's more of like it's not necessarily subjective, it's more objective, but I try to stick, with those kind of top three, top four
Yeah.
currencies. But I've made money on GBP, JPY, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what
Mhm.
I was trying to. Yeah. So so you do have a little bit of a focus, but you'll still trade anything if you
Yeah,
see a
so I'll
sign.
look at the opportunity, right? But at the end of the day, like it has to make sense. But I try to focus on just kind of those major ones, the top three that I know, right? So I know that okay, the
Yeah.
USD CAD, I know kind of the movement of that so far. I know the GBP USD, it's a wild movement, right? So if I'm getting into that, you know, I'm essentially like I know what I'm getting into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Euro USD, I've also, profited from that. So I kind of understand, what I'm getting into. But yeah,
Yeah, yours USD is a good one too.
yeah, yeah. So I focus on the majors, so to speak. But as I said, if I see an opportunity, as I said, the GBP JPY, I was basically looking, I was just looking at charts. I wasn't really seeing any opportunity in USD CAD or Euro USD. And then I saw an opportunity in GBP JPY. Then I analyzed it, right? I think I analyzed it probably for like 3 days before I actually made the move because the thing with the Japanese yen, it's extremely like volatile, right? And then what happened was I made the trade and like I put it in, I put a stop loss and I also put my take profit. Then I went to
Yeah.
sleep and when I woke up, it hit.
It hit your what? Take profit?
My take profit, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You understand? Based on my analysis, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there's always opportunities within the market, right? There's always
Mm-hmm.
opportunity in the market. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I base it on. I focus on the majors, right? But I'll look and see if there's other opportunities out there. If it makes sense, I'll jump in it. But for the most part, I'm just sticking to like the majors. And then,
Right, right,
I'm,
right, right.
I'm being patient also, right? So there's times in which I'll analyze it. I see the opportunity, but I may not be convinced. So then I won't take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of being disciplined, greedy at the same time. So it's just, whatever, makes sense. But yeah, I would say from an analysis standpoint, I try to focus on majors. And then, I'll look for other opportunities kind of where as they come up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm. But yeah, like if we're looking at the USD CAD here, right? So if we're looking at the 6 month, it's at that 59 RSI, right? So if I go down to the three
Mm-hmm.
month, right, it's still at that like 56. If I go to the 1 month, still in that 55, 56 range. If I go to the 1 week, still in that range. If I go to the 1 day, it's still within that range, right? So for me, if I'm gonna take a position on USD CAD, I want to see either it's moving to that oversold territory or it's moving below
Mm-hmm.
that 30, 35 RSI to that bought, sorry, oversold territory. So
Right, right, right.
and I'm also looking at, what I've seen before, right? So let's say previously the low on the RSI was 26, the most recent one. I'll probably wait until I see it close to that, like a 25, 26, right? So I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily take the 30 right away. It depends because the fact that it had a lower low here, it's indicating like, from like a statistics standpoint, the most optimal RSI may not be that 30. So probably I'll just wait until it hits 25 or 26, then I'll jump into that position, right? So I'm also checking the bands, right? The band and seeing how the RSI had moved previously
What
within that
band?
period. It's on the chart, like the band, like the volatility band. So like for instance,
Okay.
the peak RSI
Hmm.
for this
Hmm.
was 80, right?
Yeah.
On the upside, and then on the low end it was like 28. Here I see it was at 24, right? So in my mind,
Hmm.
30 may not be enough for me to get that. But because for me, I want to make maximum profit and I want to get the best entry possible, right? So I'm trying to
I
see,
see.
okay,
Okay.
how can I get, the best entry? So if I'm looking at the chart and I saw that, okay, the lowest RSI was around 23, for instance, I'll probably take it at like 25 or right. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of how. So for me, USD CAD, I would wait personally because the 6 month, the 3 month, the 1 month, the 1 week, and the 1 day is not really showing me what I want to see. Like I want to see the
Yeah.
RSI for the USD CAD like at like 75 for me to sell, and for me to buy, I want to see it at like 25 or so, 26 for me to, for me to feel comfortable. Like I want to jump into this, right?
Okay.
So for me, I would wait and then I would just put my alerts in, right? So that's what I do. So if there's nothing there, I just analyze it, I put my alerts, then I move to the next currency, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of
So
how
what's
I
the
do it.
longest you've been in open position?
The
Typically, how
longest
long are
I've been in
you?
an open, I think like probably like 3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I think yeah, around there. Yourself?
And what's the short like what's the shortest?
Shortest like couple minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've scout? Because I thought
Yeah, I
you
have.
seem
Yeah.
like more of a swing trader
Yeah,
than
I'm more of a
scalper.
swing trader, but I have scalped
Hmm.
before. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm usually it's a day for me by the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm more of a swing trader, but as I said,
Hmm.
I like I'll take my profits, right? So,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like if I, let's say I've had chances in which, okay, I'm up $1,000 on like your USD, for instance, and I just took it and then
Yeah.
go to sleep. Yeah, I just go to sleep and then, come back again and analyze, right? So I try to know when not to be greedy and also be greedy at the same time. But yeah, I would say I'm more of a swing trader, but I'll take um, some day trade opportunities too.
Okay. And what are your what would be your like biggest in term your best
Biggest biggest return,
yeah, in terms of pips, like what did you do in terms of the biggest move?
like biggest return on pips. I'd have to check. Just give me 1 second. But I would say
Mhm.
probably on the GBPJPY, I got like
Yeah.
700 pips on that one.
700 pips?
Let me check it. But remember, that's
Wow,
GBP.
that's insane.
Yeah, but remember, that's GBPJPY, right?
Wow.
Um,
700.
give me 1 second. It may be 70, but let me just double
Yeah,
check it.
maybe 70.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
70.
70 pips.
Yeah, maybe 70. Let me just.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes
It may,
sense.
I'm
70
trying to
pips.
pull it up right now. Give me 1 second. I'll send
Because
you
it's
a screen.
just the yeah, it's the two digits after the decimal. So that would be
Yeah, so it's
yeah,
like around, yeah, I think it's like around 650. I can send
670.
you, I can send you a screenshot. Huh?
Basically 70, that's what you're saying. 70 pips, yeah.
Exactly.
Ma-
I can send you a screenshot.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I think that's like the average move in a day for the it probably moves higher than that. Do you ever look at the ATR, the average true range, or you don't focus on that too much?
So I just sent you a screenshot of the GBPJPY.
Mm.
If I look at the what, sorry?
The ATR,
ATR.
average true range, yeah.
Um, I
It kind
could
of
take a look at it.
it just
Sorry?
it measures the movement of the pair over a certain amount of days. So the average movement of that pair, like in terms of like I know GDP JPY might be like depending on what time frame you are on, but that could be like 100 pips in a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've
The
seen,
ATR.
yeah, what I've seen a lot, like in terms of my own analysis, like as an example with like USD CAD, I've seen USD CAD move like 200 to like 300, sometimes 400 pips in a day.
Oh, really?
But I say the average probably is 100 to 200, give or take.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I see this. This was a good trade here.
So that
Yeah, this
trade
is like
that I sent you, it was basically I saw the opportunity. I kind of tracked it for like a day or two. I placed the trade like at probably like 12:30 at night. And then when I woke up probably at 5 a.m. and I checked my phone and it hit my take
Mhm.
profit. You know what I mean?
Damn, damn. That's good, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. So
That's a good one, man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So on that one I made like 10.
But where are you putting your stop loss when once you get in the trade?
Um,
Like
yeah, so
if
so for that
can
one,
you
let
go
me
on the chart?
I can
Like
check
what?
I can check what my stop loss was on that one. Let me see. But it depends, right? So if you have like a JBP, you know that it can hit you. The thing with GBP, it can hit your stop loss and your take profit in like one move, right?
Oh yeah, that's why
So
you got to be careful.
yeah,
Because I
exactly.
find stop loss, it could,
So that's why you
it's
have to
very
be
tricky.
careful. So that's why you kind of have to you may
Mhm.
have to widen your the band, right? Let me check the stop loss that I put on that trade. Um, I'm trying to find it. Just give me a second. Okay, so all right, so on that trade, my stop loss on that one was so I bought it for like 201, 8.85, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my stop loss on that one was like 203, right? And my take profit on it was 201.2, right? So basically I widened my stop loss because with the volatility can hit your stop loss and bounce back up and hit your take profit, right? All in like one go, right? Um, so that's why I kind of
So
widened.
was that? That's like 200 pips?
Not 200. That's like one. It's like 115 pips.
115? Okay.
Yeah,
Mm, that's not too bad, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. But that looks like a good trade. That worked out.
yeah.
Wow. So based on your experience now,
Mm-hmm.
to make these type of returns, what would you say you would have to start out with in capital?
In capital,
On this trade that you showed me right now, yeah. Because obviously you have to have money in a trading account to kind of take these kind of positions, right? What would what would what would you suggest to make this type of return that like this example that you just sent me? GDP, JPY. What would be the capital you would need, the initial capital? Hello? I can't hear you. Did you get mute? You got muted. Okay. Hello? Yeah, I can't hear you, man. I don't know what happened. But no.